is the very basis of who we are. It is why we look the way we look. It is why our pets look the way they look. It is why one person in the family may have blue eyes while another has brown eyes. It is why when two chickens are bred together, one may express the black fur coat of the father while another may express a checkered fur coat as a combination of the white fur coated mother and the black fur coated father. Now, Gregor Mendel is considered the father of genetics because he's the one that started the very foundation of what it was. With his work with pea plants, he kept genetics clear and simple. There were two different alleles with a dominant or recessive relationship, meaning the dominant allele would override the recessive allele and be expressed as the phenotype of the offspring. However, as we continue to grow and advance scientifically and learn more about biology, we learn that genetics isn't quite that simple and began to extend on Gregor Mendel's work. So polygenic inheritance is when many genes account for one trait, poly meaning many. An example being height in humans. So a recent study has found at least 400 genes that attribute to human height. So it's not just one gene, it's almost 400 genes that determine human height, which does explain the variance in population, how you can come from a family of tall people and be of average height while your brother or sister is taller than you, and why there's such a variance of height in populations around the world. The next is multiple alleles. That's when there are three or more alleles present on the same loci, an example being fur color variation in a rabbit population. So, multiple alleles allow for many possible dominant relationships, such as one allele being completely dominant to all the other three alleles, while another shows incomplete dominance to the two other alleles. So, an example in rabbits is that the dominant allele is the black fur coat. However, a tan fur coat is incompletely dominant to the white fur coat and the yellow fur coat. But the yellow fur coat holds dominance over the white fur coat, which is completely recessive and will not appear unless there are two alleles of the same kind. So the next we have is codominance, which is the simultaneous expression of two alleles in a heterozygote, an example being ABO human blood types and animal coat patterns. So with human blood types, if a person is blood type AB, the A and B blood types are both expressed at the same time. But to make it a little bit more simple, we'll focus on the animal coat patterns. So on the right, we have a black chicken and a white fur-coated chicken. Well, the black fur-coated chicken and the white fur-coated chicken are an example of codominance because when they are crossed together and bred, the offspring are going to result in 4 checkered chickens, which are both going to express the black and white coloring of the parents. Now, with incomplete dominance, it's a little bit different. It's the blending of two alleles in a heterozygote. So when you're blending, you're thinking of red, white equals pink, which is exactly what that is. So our example is with snapdragons. So snapdragon mother is red. The father is going to be white. When the two parents are crossed, you're going to get 4 heterozygotes, which is going to result in pink snapdragons. Because when you mix the red with the white and incomplete dominance, it's going to blend and make pink. So the next topic is epistasis, which is when one non-allelic gene masks the phenotypic expression of another gene. It's like an object that stands out until you cover it with a blanket. So an example of this is being a fur color of a Labrador Retriever. So with Labrador Retriever, epistasis is recessive. It can either be recessive or dominant, but in this case it's recessive. So we have two genes that are interacting to determine its fur color. One gene we're going to call A determines fur color. So capital A is dominant to lowercase a. And the other gene is going to be capital D, which it controls the expression of gene A. So the presence of the homozygous recessive alleles DD are going to mask gene A. No matter if gene A is dominant originally, but if he is paired with the DD, it's going to be masked and not expressed. Albinism is also an example of epistasis, which results in white skin coloring, red eyes, very pale complexion. So going back full circle, we come back to Gregor Mendel, the father of genetics. He developed the fundamental laws of genetics and set the foundation for future research. And you can't expound upon something without having a basis. And Mendel was our basis for understanding who we are, what happens when you cross two animals, two plants, two people. And without the basis, the fundamental idea of two alleles being dominant and recessive, and when crossed together, are going to result in a combination that, in the case of both parents being heterozygous, you're going to have one homozygous dominant, one homozygous recessive, and two heterozygous offspring in a cross. And that's it for genetics. I hope you enjoyed and learned something and learned a little bit more about why you look the way you look.